Welcome to Stocking the Pantry with Hal. It's a series of videos, articles, and my ramblings produced in cooperation with the Point Defiance Ruston Senior Center. Our goal is to provide information and resources to help everyone to be better prepared and reduce food waste. So let's get started. So today we're going to be talking about something that I've been putting off for a while, and that's just a quick discussion of the two different types of electric food dehydrators there are. And it does make a difference. The two types are a horizontal airflow, like for example, the Excalibur, where the air and the heat comes from the back and moves across the trays towards the front, bounces off the front and comes back so that it circulates this direction. Then there is the original type, which is a vertical, where some of them, and I don't think they make them anymore, the heating unit was in the lid and went down and circulated this way. Now pretty much all of them, the heating unit and the fan is in the bottom. And we're going to start going into some detail on this one. This is one of the most original models of those original. So it doesn't have individual controls for temperature or for time, turning it on and off, but they work fine. In fact, they work quite well, but they require a great deal more attention because you can't set the temperature and you can't set the timing. So they come with a lid, of course, and they come with anywhere from 5 to 9 trays. And it's kind of a mesh. When you're doing fruit slices, things like that, you'd lay them directly on here. If you were doing things like fruit leathers or really drippy fruits, you're going to want to use the non-stick inserts. And you can buy more trays. Most of these you can put in up to 9. But I wouldn't recommend you go more than about 5 or 6, because what you have to do in order to get them to all dehydrate fairly evenly, since the heat comes from the bottom and has to go all the way through them up to the top, is you have to set yourself a schedule where you're going to rotate the trays. I mean, basically, you're going to have to flip them from top to bottom in a rotation. And it depends on what you're dehydrating, but it works quite well. The other advantages of this is it's inexpensive. And if you're going to dehydrate some things, like a lot of things like onions, which sometimes will imbue your dehydrator semi-permanently with the smell, or for making like jerkies, where you know that it's always going to be meat and it's going to be some strong spices. So one of these is pretty inexpensive, and that would be a good one for that. Now we're going to dig in a little deeper into the Excalibur and talk a little bit more about the airflow coming from the back and how that can be a real advantage. So it has, you can get these, and there are other brands besides this, but most of them come from 5 trays up to like 9 or more. There are a few of them that everything is stainless steel. It's intended for probably more commercial use, and the price reflects that. But the Excaliburs with the plastic trays work just fine. So you get a plastic tray that slides in and out, usually 5 or 9 of them. So you have the standard tray that holds everything, and then you have these mesh inserts that go into the trays, and these are what you would be using for larger pieces or things that are not really drippy. But then you get some kind of a Teflon or silicone sheet, and they go on top of it and on top of the tray, and that catches any runs, and that's what you use to make your fruit roll-ups like we did in the last one. And it's also really good for when you're doing, like say, slices of tomato, and when you're making things like the Parmesan tomato low-carb chips where they might drip through a lot. It's really good for that. Now, with this model, as I mentioned, and because it's basically an even airflow all the way up to the front and to the back, you only have to rotate the trays maybe once during the whole process. A lot of time you don't even need to rotate them at all. But what I always like to do would be take the tray out and rotate it 180 degrees and put it back in and let it continue. Now this one comes with a timer up to 24 hours and a temperature control going from 0 up to about 155. And that's about the highest temperature that you want a dehydrator to go, because past 155, you're basically cooking it. You're not just removing the moisture. And so that's the two main types of dehydrators. You can also use an oven if you can get one that's cool enough, but airflow and consistent temperature are the most important features. Thank you for sharing this time with us. If you'd like more information about the Center for Food Preservation Arts, including more recipes, check out our website at preservedfoods.blogspot.com and follow us on Facebook so you get notifications of upcoming articles, videos, and events. And we hope to see you back here for our next virtual canning party.